Well, in essence, what people who have gathered here are trying to do is to reflect on the past 20 years of our democracy, well, almost. To essentially look at some of the things that are making this democracy to work, but also some of those things that are not working, and to examine in greater detail as to why things aren't working as they should. Now, lots of speakers have been lined up over the next couple of days. Just now, the conference got underway. You had Professor Ter Blanche, who had some quite thought-provoking thoughts around. It takes it back to pre-1994, when that negotiated settlement was reached between chiefly the ANC and, of course, the Nuts at the time. Of course, several other political parties were involved, but the chief players in those negotiations were, of course, the former apartheid government of the National Party, as well as the African National Congress. Now, Professor Ter Blanche's argument, or what he was trying to do, was to actually trace the origins of where we are to that negotiated settlement and look at some of the issues that he seems to believe are actually responsible for where we are today. For example, he says, if you look at the advantages and privileges that business in South Africa today is enjoying, they can actually be traced back to that negotiated settlement. He also argues, for example, that the reason you won't find business criticizing and using its leverage over the government precisely goes back to that negotiated settlement. An interesting thought in a no-holds-barred address that was, of course, pre-recorded and broadcast here because he himself couldn't be here today. And then after him, you had Matthew Sposa. Now, Matthew Sposa, as many people would know, is a former National Executive Committee member of the National Congress, the governing party. He, too, did not mince his words. He spoke very directly around corruption, talking about how it is affecting the fabric of the society and how the ANC should, in fact, deal with this scourge and deal with it now and very decisively, or else they are going to lose the faith and confidence of the people of South Africa. So far, those are the people who have spoken. This conference got underway about half an hour ago or so.
Now, a number of issues on the table, the politics of transformation, the judicial transformation, affirmative action, spatial transformation. But what exactly does the Kathrada Foundation hope to achieve with this conference?
In essence, it's to create a dialogue around these sorts of issues. The belief of the person behind the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation, who is Ahmed Kathrada himself, who, as you know, is a former Rivonia trialist, a comrade of Nelson Mandela, who spent years and years in prison. He's saying, we need to open the space. We need to talk more openly about some of the things that are affecting our society today. If you have more than 50% of our population living in poverty, definitely something is wrong. So what this conference is trying to do is to say, are we in line with the vision that we set for ourselves pre-1994? Are we still sticking to the values that we thought would lay the foundation for the kind of society we wanted to build as a nation? And if there are challenges, what sort of challenges are we talking about? Are these the sort of challenges that we cannot avoid, or are these the sort of challenges that we ourselves, those of us who are running the country, those of us who have various contributions to make from our vantage point, is it for lack of trying, or is it something that definitely could not be done in the 20 years or so that we've been a democracy? So let's go back to the basics. Let's go to the nub of the problem. And if it's things we can do something about, let's do something about them. But if it's things that we can't do anything about, then let's find ways of saying, how do we address these, and over how long a period? In other words, let's stop dilly-dallying. So it's essentially to get in fact, one of the important things, or interesting things maybe I should say, about this conference is that some of the people who are going to be delivering addresses here or participating in some of the dialogues that are going to take place over the next 3 days are in fact people you would ordinarily not find in some of the forums that you would get today. Someone like Matthew Sposa, for example, we all know that he's no longer, so to speak, as a lot of people would tell you, in the good books, so to speak, of the current administration, precisely because, as analysts would tell you, some of them have fallen out of favor. But the whole point of bringing people such as those here is to say, if there are people out there who have uncomfortable truths about who we are or what we've become, or if there are people out there who may not be liked by people who have the power to make decisions, let them come here. Let this be a forum where they can actually put their views across. And if they happen to be wrong or they are faulty in their reasoning, then that can be exposed here, because during the course of the dialogue, these people can put forward their views, and those views can be tested. If they are found to be wanting, then people can actually debate those. So it's the whole point is to make sure that no voice is unheard. Bring all the voices to the table, and when all has been said and done, let's take those to the powers that be and see if they can't do anything about the things that are going to be raised.
Thank you so
here.
much for your time. That's Vuyo Mvoko at the Lost in Transformation conference, reviewing 20 years of transformation in South Africa.